Welcome to the last unit of this course, unit 41. We are in the speaking module, the last unit of this module, module number 7, speaking 7, and today we are going to talk about some vowel sounds which we must produce, quote unquote, in the standard manner. Usually they are known as long and short vowel sounds in English. I have been trying to say that we could acquire a global standard of English without changing everything in our accent. Okay. So, it is not that we must change other things or must not. I am talking of the minimum essential changes that must happen in our English, so that we can understand and can be understood by speakers of standard English worldwide. It is from this philosophy, that principle, that this design and this unit is motivated. Let us look at it. In all languages of the world, particularly those that have also a printed form, that have a designed script for them, that have for whom their speakers designed a script, adopted a script and started writing those scripts, have symbols that can represent sounds of their language. That is essentially what print does. A print or writing system uses symbols to represent sound, to show sound. So, for example, when we write S, we mean S, and when we write SH, we mean sh. Similarly, when we write N, we mean N, and when we write P, we mean P. Okay. So, different symbols indicate different sounds. Okay. And all languages, therefore, particularly all languages that have scripts, and any language can be written in any script by and large. Generally speaking, there may be some difficulties, some modifications may be required in some places, but remember, writing system came much after in everybody's life, in every community's life. Writing system came after the speaking system. Okay. So, writing system uses symbols to represent sounds. Okay. All languages, therefore, have used different kinds of symbols of their scripts to represent different sounds. But here is the catch: no language has symbols for all kinds of sounds, because speech has variety. Actually, if you record and if you listen to yourself, or if you take a spectrogram and see the picture of a speech on your computer, you will see that unless you do it deliberately, like a comic artist or like a film actor, or as an actor on a theater, etc., unless you do it deliberately, no two renderings of the same word, same sounds are totally alike. There are some differences here or there in the amplitude, in the duration, in the pitch, in the articulatory movement, whether you do it from lips or you do it from inside the mouth. Okay. There are some differences, and no language has symbols for all, but we generally understand that this symbol represents this sound, or these symbols together represent this sound, or this sound itself is represented by more than one symbol. Okay. Therefore, in all languages of the world, the symbols are fewer than total number of sounds. by and large. In English it is much fewer, you know. English language has over 40 different sounds. Substituting one for the other might create problems, okay, but it has only 26 letters. So, what does it do therefore? Therefore, it uses one letter for more sounds and more letters for one sound, you know. Sometimes you need two letters to make one sound, CH for ch, PH for f, okay. Or sometimes one letter can make, you know, more than one sound. So, for example, English has only 5 vowel letters, A, E, I, O, U, okay, and only 2 semi vowel letters, Y and W. You know, they are called semi vowels because they are also used to represent or show consonants. So, with Y you can say yes, or with Y you can say key, okay. You can say pray, you can say day, you know. So, Y is, it serves double function, both as a consonant and as a vowel. So, with W, you know, with W you can have a consonant, you can say wet, was, where, okay, wonder, window, but you can also use it like a vowel, you know, when you say cow, now, how, okay, you are using W as a vowel. So, you know, with 2 semi vowel sounds and 5 vowel sounds, English represents over 20 vowel sounds. So, it is natural therefore, that, you know, some symbols are used for more sounds than one, and some sounds are represented by a combination of symbols, okay. That also sometimes causes problems for those who are not born talking this language. Say, let us take look at, you know, letter A for example, you know. Now, it has a different pronunciation in car. You open your jaw fully and you say car, but in cat, you know, you open your jaw only half, your lips are spread and you say cat, okay. But in cake, you know, it is yet another sound, long A. In call, your lips go round and you produce A. In cassette, you hardly pronounce A, you know, it's just minimal, maybe under 100 nanoseconds or about that, okay. It's such a limited length, it becomes a very short vowel, as against car, as against A in market, where it is 700, 800 nanoseconds long, okay. So, that is the difference, you know, that one sound can represent, one symbol can represent many sounds, and sometimes the same sound can be shown by different symbols. Say, for example, A in bed, it can be written with E, it can also be written with AE, you know, as in date, or EA as in head, okay. And you can see other letters. Actually, lot of people words dearest, okay, creature, it is not creature, but in creation it is EA once again. So, dearest creature in creation, studying English pronunciation, okay. I will teach you in my verse, you know, verse is pronounced as verse, sounds like, you know, but the same O and then consonants and AC become corpse, core, horse, worse, you know. Next, you know, stanza, I will keep you, you know. So, for saying you as in pronoun you, you know, English takes 3 letters Y, O, U, but the same U is pronounced only with one U in a name like Susie, and the same U is not pronounced like U in the next word It is not busy, it becomes busy, IY. Look at look at EA. Okay. In some words it is A, in some other words it is E. Make your head, short A, make your head with heat, long E, grow dizzy. Okay. Here Z is spelt with Z, and in the earlier line Susie and busy, it is spelt with S. Tear in eye, your dress you will tear, the same spelling, but when it is noun it is tear in your eye, your eyes are watery. Your dress you will tear, then it becomes a verb. Simply queer, fair, seer, hear my prayer, similar sound but different spellings. Long poem, you can read it for fun and also check how some words have exceptional spelling and pronunciation. But remember, these are exceptional, English does not have only these 40-50 words that are given in this poem. English has more than 500,000 words, and if it follows no pattern in spelling, then you and I will not be able to write many words correctly even without looking at the dictionary. So, that is it, There is an underlying system of course, but that system is a little complex, not very clear on the surface itself. So, that is why we have dealt with it in the resource book. If you are interested, you can go there, but you really, if you do not have time, you need not, even this practice will be enough. So, the point we are making is that spelling and writing system may not have a one-to-one match, but that is not a big problem. We can still learn speaking correctly. Why? Because if we do not speak with right pronunciation, right tempo, right pauses, then we might be misunderstood. After all, there are only a very few reasons for which even people knowing the same language, sometimes even members of the family, even very good friends, misunderstand one another. Why does it happen? Researchers show that there are very few reasons. One is that listener and the speaker may have different views of the subject or the topic. Okay. So, even when the speaker says one thing, means one thing, the listener understands another, or there may be crosstalk, okay, or inattention. The speaker says something, at the same time listener also speaks, then again there can be misunderstanding. Or if the speaker speaks rapidly, takes no pause within the sentence or between sentences, even then there can be miscomprehension. And finally, mispronunciation may also be due there to wrong word stress, or due to wrong sounds delivered wrongly. The other day we showed you that when somebody pronounced develop as develop, wrong word stress can lead to misunderstanding. So, somebody pronounced develop as develop, then there was misunderstanding. The listener thought the speaker was asking him to be double up or director, or he was talking about erected, etc., etc. Now, all of these things you will find have stress in this manner. Okay. So, stress, wrong stress can lead to serious misunderstandings. Similarly, this same research found that if you do not pronounce this word as character and pronounce it as character, which is wrong, then you may be misunderstood for saying director or erected, etc., etc. For greater discussion of this topic, please look up the resource book, audio dictionary, as I have indicated. But this is the point, that getting right stress on words is long words is very important for comprehensibility, for comprehension. And then of course, wrong sounds. Now, all sounds need not be in a very standard manner, though there is no harm if you can do it. Okay. But the minimal that must change, we will talk about that. Okay. But let us first say what is a vowel sound. Now, all human speech, no matter what language you speak, are made up of only two kinds of sounds. One is the vowel sounds, the other is the consonant sounds. What is a vowel sound? A vowel sound is produced by air stream flowing through the mouth without obstruction. So, for example, when you say papa, there is your lips, both your lips come together, otherwise you cannot say pa. Okay. But the there is, after you have said pa, the mouth remains open and then the air flows to say ah. So, you have pa, pa, okay, pa, for ah, the mouth is open fully, no obstruction there. So, sounds that are produced without obstruction in the oral passage are known as vowel sounds. Okay. But if that is the case, then how do we get different vowels? But vowels can change in one of these three ways, either through the opening of change in the opening of jaws. Suppose you have your jaw is fully open, then you can say ah, as in car, as in market. You may need not open so much, but traditionally in standard British English or American English or Indian English, some vowels are long and long vowels are produced only with jaws fully open. So, you have ah, that is how you can say market, car, basket, heart. Okay. So, vowels are produced by air stream flowing without obstruction, okay, and then it goes through the mouth. And how do vowels change? They change with the opening of jaws. If you open your jaw fully, you will get ah. If you keep it very close, you cannot get ah. Then or either it will be distorted or it will be incomprehensible. Okay. All right. Vowels also change with shape of lips. For example, when your lips are in neutral position, you say a. When they spread, you say e, or when they are rounded, you say oo. When they are less rounded, you say o. When they are, there are degrees, it goes on. Okay. Sometimes vowels also change because of shape of lips, and sometimes vowels change also because of movement of tongue. Though the tongue does not move so much that it would obstruct the flow of air from mouth to outside, yet it can do enough harm, if it moves more than a certain limit. So, for example, when you say ah, it is the back of your tongue which feels pressure, but when you say e, it is the front of the blade of the tongue that feels the pressure. Okay. So, by making changes somewhere in one of these three things, either in the opening of jaws or in the shape of lips or in some movements of tongue, we can bring all kinds of vowel sounds. Okay. What do vowel sounds do? They give voice. If you speak without vowels, you won't be comprehensible, So, vowels carry our speech to the listener. It is that voice that reaches. Consonants cannot be used in speech unless you have vowels. Okay. What is a consonant? Let us also see in passing. A consonant is produced through the oral passage with some obstruction in the oral passage. Either you put your, the tip of the tongue behind the alveolar ridge behind your teeth, and then you have the, etc., etc. But in English, if you want to produce the or the, then there no need of contact of the tongue and the teeth are required. Okay. So, a consonant is produced through obstruction. Our lips may be closed. Without closing the lips, you cannot produce pa, ba, etc. Okay. So, consonants change according to change in the vibration of vocal cords. The difference between pa and ba is that pa, it does not vibrate, ba it does vibrate. So, change in the vibration of vocal cords, or nature and place of obstruction and manner of release of obstruction in the, is it nature and place of obstruction? Is it fully closed near the lips, or fully closed near the teeth ridge, or fully closed elsewhere? And then how did you release it? Release air suddenly, gradually, that is also important. And finally, how that obstruction is released, gradually, suddenly, etc., etc. Okay. So, these things together make our speech sounds, vowels and consonants. Consonant sounds bring meaning to words. Barring a few words, you can, it is true that you can produce vowels without consonants, but you will not be able to produce meaning, unless of course, somebody else helps, you show the dictionary, you do charade, that kind of thing. But consonant sounds generally bring meaning, and vowel sounds bring voice. And because voice can be stretched maybe for longer time, shorter time, so vowels have lengths. There are short vowels, long vowels. Consonants can be of many varieties, many more than of vowels, okay, because of these large combinations, state of vocal cords, state of obstruction, manner of obstruction, release of obstruction, place of obstruction, So, maybe we have fewer vowel sounds than consonant sounds. Let us talk about vowels. If we have to change one thing in the pronunciation, in our pronunciation of vowels, if we have to relearn something for the sake of being globally understood, then we must try and learn to keep our short and long vowels clearly apart, distinctly apart. Okay? In some languages, it is possible, in some languages even in India, but in some other languages, length matters. Your comprehensibility depends upon the length. Okay. Whereas, in some other languages, length of vowel may not matter. A vowel becomes long if it takes long time to produce. As I said, vowel is a function of, length is a function of voice, and if you voice for a long time, you just say oo, it is long, it is short, oo, you say e, it is short, but you prolong it slightly in the same position, then it becomes e, it becomes oo, o, or it becomes a, a little longer. If you prolong some sound, then it becomes a long sound. Okay. In English, of course, other distinctions also matter, whether you produce the vowel from rounded lips or from flat lips. Rounded lips will give you oo and flat lips will give you e. Neutral lips will give you a, o, a, etc. Okay? But let us take only these two. Rounded lips would give you oo and flat lips will give you e. Okay? But that can also cause miscomprehension. But relatively speaking, little miscomprehension happens when you pronounce behind as behind or behind, but when you reduce the length of the vowel, when you pronounce leave as live and when you pronounce live as leave, then you cause misunderstanding. Suppose someone asks you, where do you live? You wouldn't know if I should say Chennai or if I should say I am leaving now. Okay, you will be confused. And English has many words which make a pair, minimal pair between long and short. They have everything else is alike in those words, except the length of the vowel. It is the length of the vowel that keeps those words apart from each other. Okay? So, in English therefore, because English has this contrast, lots of this contrast, and in English the difference between length of long vowel and the length of short vowels is much greater. Long vowel can even be 700, 800 nanoseconds long in words like market or in words like car or father. Okay? It can be several nanoseconds longer. But in other words, like about, away, set, okay, you hardly hear it may not be more than 100 or 150 nanoseconds longer. Okay. So, right length can help us in better comprehension by listeners. Okay. How do dictionaries show length? When you look up a dictionary for pronunciation, usually they use a colon after a short sound. Say for example, if they have to transcribe believe, say b, first it is this slanted bar, then it is b, then e, then l, then e. So, it is this length colon that shows the extra length of the vowel sounds there. Okay. So, that it is believe, right. So, if you have ever any doubt about the length of a particular vowel sound, you can check a dictionary and you may become sure. And you might think it is boring. Yes, of course, it is boring in the beginning, though. But once rewards start coming, once you do it about 50-60 words, you will see that it is easily you are able to keep long and short vowels apart. Okay. Let us have some practice. Even if you take only these few words and speak them aloud every day for a few minutes, okay, but every day for a few minutes, not that you do it for 2 hours in one day and then you next entire week you do nothing. No, that won't help you. You take just few words, do it for a few minutes, but then do it every day and you will acquire the right length of words. For example, here we go, short vowel first, long vowel next. So, it is wit, it is bit, beat, till, sorry, bit, beat, fit, feet. Mark the how the length your lips are spread. Hit, heat, sit, seat, bin, bean, din, deen, sin, seen, tin, teen, it goes on like that. Okay. And you soon find that you are able to do it right better. You can make a, and it's not necessary that you should do only contrast between long and short. You can also do long vowels all by yourselves. Okay. Hardly need any practice in short vowel, but if you do, you can do that as well. Okay. So, go for it. I have given you an assignment. Okay. There, you can take any number of words here. It is again from the same poem. Okay. And check the length of vowels there. Have you been able to get them right? First, do them yourselves, and then check with the dictionary. If you are rendering it right, rendering these lines of this very famous poem right, or not so right. Would you like to make any changes? So, do these 2 lines and check, and if you are able to do them right, then you have got the heart of the matter. You understand the difference between length. Otherwise, please, some exercise, some pattern practice, some drill is really important. Before I close the entire course and the speaking module, all I have tried to say is the following, that number 1, we do not need a total change of our accent. Okay. Only some minimum essential, not just accent and other features of language. We do not need to change all features of our language, our accent, but some minimum essential in some features may be good. Okay. Some minimum essential change, that this is the key phrase, minimum essential. Okay. Change in some features. So, that is what we have tried to do on this course. And once again, languages cannot be imparted as gift. Languages can only be acquired by people, can only be learnt by people, by speakers, and while learning there may be mistakes. There is no shame in it, but we can overcome those mistakes through practice and through a study, and by making a little change in our present language, present day English or its accent, we can do business at the global level. We can understand and be understood by speakers of English in other countries, from, as the cliche goes, from Australia to Zaire, and it will help us all. Okay. Good luck. Don't forget to look up resource books every time you have a doubt. It is done for you. It has exercises, it has answers to frequently asked questions, it has pattern practice, drills and theoretical explanation for everything that has been said. Good luck and enjoy learning.